This is Lauren, and we are walking through fire. And tonight we have Kelly Brooks, the founder of the Facebook group RSD Sisters. You may spot her around California in her CRPS RSD decked out vehicle. She is a huge advocate, ally, supporter, survivor of CRPS. And I am going to let her introduce herself right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here with you, Lauren. You are an amazing person yourself. So thank you for allowing me to be here with you on Walking Through Fire. I started RSD Sisters in July of 2010, I believe. I acquired this lovely disease on April 18th, 2010. I slipped, fell in a restaurant in Florida and put my foot through a wall and hit the meat cutting table on the other side with my foot, paralyzed my toes instantly, and got RSD.
And you
or
told me that the
CRPS.
reason that happened is in Florida, they're always prepared for a storm, so they bolt the tables down. Is that correct?
Yeah, the tables are actually because of all the hurricanes and stuff. It's common for restaurants to stabilize and bolt down their meat cutting equipment and things of that nature. But in Florida, it's a little different. And with the hopes that, meat cutting blades and things of that nature aren't going to go flying through a hurricane, they bolt the table to the floor, the wall, then they bolt the meat equipment to the table and to the wall. And the table is like a real, like all steel table, and the meat cutting equipment on it is extremely heavy. So when my
So
foot
you
went,
took a fall directly into nothing that was ever going to budge.
yeah, exactly. It was like falling into a piece of iron bridge that off of a freeway or something.
And
So,
then instantly, what did you feel?
um, well, I fell on my left side, and I put my toes my toes and foot hit, and I hit the floor so hard that the paint on the floor had adhered to my clothing and to my arm,
Wow.
to my skin. And the black paint came off the floor and was on my body and on my
Wow.
clothing. I still have the clothing to this day. Um, I'm sure I'll dig them out one day, take pictures and burn them, but I haven't gotten
The
to that point
clothes, the
yet.
pictures, the whole thing. I'm going to just start a big bonfire for the whole thing.
Absolutely. Since we're walking through the fire, might as well burn the shit
Exactly.
down, right?
So, when this happened, were you able to sue? Was it anything that
Oh yeah.
was
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they were completely at fault. They had mopped the
okay?
floor and they used a chemical and didn't clean it up, and they didn't dry the floor, and there were no signs.
So,
So
so maybe it was the chemical that helped the paint adhere to the back of your clothing. I mean, who
maybe,
knows what you
but
even landed in? You could have been in acid for all we know.
exactly. So yeah, we went through a, a personal injury case. And what nobody tells you when you sign up for a personal injury case, and note this now, but it's not going to matter because all the people watching have already been through the fire.
No, it's
um,
true. Maybe there's
um,
some that haven't. Let's see.
so if you ever get into a personal injury case, my suggestion is negotiate the shit out of the amount that the attorney gets. You're not told that you can do that. In fact, they will probably fight you and tell you, oh, that's not something, blah, blah, blah. But when that motherfucker walked away with $1.2 million and I got less than $1 million, and
A lifelong disease too.
he gets to go and settle another case tomorrow, and I don't get to go to work, and I don't get to make any money, and I don't get to do anything, and that's my life. That $2 million settlement was shit in the long run. And I read about people all the time. I am so grateful for what I got, but I read about people all the time. A lady got hit by a wheelchair lady in Walt Disney World in Florida, and she got $12,000 from Disneyland for that.
But Disneyland, look, I mean, Disney has been through a lot of lawsuits at this point. I mean, Disney was through a lawsuit about once a year at this point, so they have a lot of insurance. What I didn't learn, um, until now in New York, because I'm in New York, and imagine, so you lose your leg from a malpractice. Did you know that doctors can practice without any insurance? You could be a surgeon,
Yes.
you could go under, and you can practice without having any malpractice or the bare minimum. So
Yes.
you, let's say you have a child, you entrust the life of your child with this doctor, something goes terribly wrong, and now your child has a permanent injury. And they look at you and they say, I'm really sorry this happened. This is all we got. This is so for the rest of your life, like Kelly, just got emotional over, it brings us to a place of anger, which ends up in emotion because we're left with this lifelong pain and people just walk away with zero accountability. And she's not saying she's not grateful that she got something, but how do you put a price
How do
on
you
this for the
quantify that?
rest?
And my attorney told me straight off the bat that it was a $5 million case and the insurance cap was 2. And what they also don't tell you is that they get 33 and a third
Correct.
plus cost.
Correct.
But if they file one piece of paper, one document with the court for a lawsuit, it automatically goes to 40% plus the cost.
Okay, so this is, I don't know if this is this, I don't know
No,
law. I
this
don't
is
know.
the norm. This is
This
the
is a
norm
norm.
for personal injury cases. You usually, it's usually a 33 and a third percent of your lawsuit, and then cost. And this is another kicker.
I love a good kicker, Kelly. I love a kicker. Go ahead.
So on top of the cost, so my attorney had to fly me there, of course. So to waste my money, the other side had my attorney fly me for a deposition when they knew they were settling the case. So they got the flight and the hotel and all of those costs out of me. Plus, the best part is when I got the bill for the attorney, guess what I got? Guess what was on top of those costs?
I'm gonna assume your getaway.
No,
Oh, there's more.
a full year's fucking salary for a paralegal.
Oh, well, that was sweet
So
of you.
I got a $58,000 bill for 1 year for my paralegal.
So you can see, I mean, a lot of us get this from, I mean, hers is a different story than mine. Mine's a different story than somebody else. Hers is an injury. Mine is completely different. But these are the little humps that we go through, and it's a big problem. And so I want to talk to Kelly about a lot of things. So we're gonna move off of that. But
But that 58 grand for that paralegal could have paid for my stem cell.
of course, it could have paid for a lot of things. The things that go on with this, that's like for every prosthetic I need, they're over $17,000 a prosthetic. And that's not even a prosthetic that's microprocessor. This is the bare minimum. You
Yeah.
need a new prosthetic every 2 years, 3 years tops. The shells go that, the money you get doesn't, first of all, it doesn't make you feel better because it doesn't correlate with what you're going through. I mean, since I was
No, it's a
diagnosed, it's
joke.
been one thing after the other, after the other. And until these settlements come, it's coming out of your pocket, and
Yeah.
that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, you have
We
a
got to the
pretty,
point, if I'll be completely honest with you, it financially put us to the point. My husband works for a very reputable law firm. He is not an attorney. He's a forensic data analyst. He is now also a professor at a college teaching paralegals, but
put you in a
it put
hole.
it put us in a position where when we got our settlement, we were grateful that we had the landlord that we had that owned so many properties, because we paid her 10 months of rent, back rent,
But
and she was a blessing and didn't charge us interest or anything.
it's
But
sad because even what you get, you already know that most of that is going towards the stuff you couldn't get to pay before.
yep.
Now for
And if you
you,
get a loan, I got a $10,000 loan
oh
prior
yeah,
to
that
my
goes
settlement.
too.
let me tell you, that $10,000 loan, when you pay it back, is 20 grand. So don't think that
Nobody's doing you a favor.
nobody's doing you a favor giving you that 10 grand so that you can buy your meds and you pay your rent or feed your kids
Yeah,
for
no,
the next
you're
3
paying
months.
in the end.
You're paying double that crap back in the end. And they don't tell you that. And then all of that leads to, like I said, into the fact that you can't pay for your stuff. And now, on top of all of that, now I'm 11 years in, and 3 years ago, we start having this opioid epidemic
Oh,
because of
wait. Don't get
prescribed
into
medications.
don't get into opioids yet. Let's get into you get this injury and you decide to start RSD Sisters. Tell me
Yes.
why.
Okay.
Tell me why.
Because at the time I couldn't find anything. There was barely anything. There was the RSDSA Association, and they weren't a huge association at the time. I found out that the disease is more about women than men.
Correct.
So I decided that because of the intimacy level that women have on a different level, um, with the sexual intimacy, the ability to have children, the hormones, and everything that plays into a woman, I felt it was necessary to make a group that was solely based around that. And because the women's are usually the caretakers of the family. So my idea and goal in the long run is to get to the point where we are helping integrate the women back into families that are educated about RSD. So if you find out you have RSD, that you have resources, because right now, there, even now, even with the growth in the last 10 years of groups that
There's
have
not a
come up,
lot.
there's not a lot of them. There are a lot of Facebook help groups, but there are not a lot of groups that um, that are trying to do something other than talk on Facebook.
Now I was just kind of ran into Kelly. I had no idea about RSD Sisters, and I have my own nonprofit, and it was absolutely, since we've met, I mean, we definitely get a laugh for sure, which is great. But I've been on her site, and first of all, a little bit about Kelly from an outside perspective. She's the kind of person that if she says you need her, she's going to answer the phone. If she says, "Can I do you? Can I do something to help you?" She's going to get whatever she said she's going to get to you, and that's a rare quality. There's people who
Thank you.
how are you? You good? All right. What can I do for you? You never hear from them again. We all have those people, but Kelly will go out of her way, and her group is not a nonprofit, but she functions it basically just like it is. I mean, I watch her from, obviously I'm not in California, but I watch the page from where I am in New York. And you're talking about how many members do you have on there? Thousands.
Over 1,000. I have 1,100 in the closed group, and then I have a RSD family closed group. I think it's got 400, and then I got an open page that's got over 1,000. There is a group ran by a lady named Christy that's got about 12,000. But the reason why I'm telling you that is because that just shows you how many people in the world have RSD. There's not a lot
And
of us.
here's the thing though, 12,000 on her group. My group is specific, nonprofit for amputees with CRPS and people who wonder about
You're
that.
very niche because doctors don't want to amputate.
No, doc, so I have my own thing that I do, but me and Kelly have spoken, and the word poach has been brought up when talking
Oh
about
Lord,
nonprofits. And we've gone back
that's
and
a
forth.
joke.
And the idea is, and we've said it to each other, you want to get the 12,000 from this group, the 1,000 from this group, the this from this, and bring it all together, because with that, we're going to accomplish something. With all, we've had nonprofits say, "Sorry, I won't work with you because I have a business to run." This is not a business. This is
No,
people's
what do
lives.
you mean? I have a business to run. What was the thought process? Please take me to the day you thought about being a nonprofit and tell me what was your thought process, because my
Exactly.
thought process isn't a business. My thought process is, okay, how can I get counseling in people's homes? How can I call the fire department in the middle of the rural Oklahoma and get them out to this lady's house whose son has CRPS and seizures and he needs a ramp? So let's get that shit built. I don't care. I don't care. And show me. I want just one of these RSD nonprofits, just one of them, to show me the research, the medical research that they say is being done, because I've yet to see some. And the other issue I have is the nonprofits fighting over. What are you fighting over? I don't understand.
You're
Aren't you
fighting
here to help
over
each other?
people that are sick as if they're bringing you money. And as we've spoken, that's not what this is. You open a
I've
nonprofit,
wanted to
like
be
you
a
said, what were
nonprofit.
you thinking from the beginning? Where was this going?
I wanted to be a nonprofit for 11 years. And 10 years ago, because it'll be 11 years this July that I've had RSD Sisters. It'll be 11 years in April I've had RSD. But um, 9 or 10 years ago, I had decided that I wanted to become a nonprofit, and I started making some jewelry and t-shirts and wanted to sell them just for the purpose of making awareness and to get the money to become a nonprofit. But the reason I haven't become a nonprofit in 11 years is because of the uh
Go ahead. Insanity that goes on?
yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why, if you have a baseball game or if you have a hockey game and it's in LA, and I live in San Diego or San Bernardino even, I'm not going to LA if I have RSD to go to that hockey game or to take my kid to that hockey game if I feel good enough to go that day. And why am I paying $60 to go to a hockey game when you're a nonprofit? Isn't the point for you to help us do things? I'm not a nonprofit. I paid for 50 tickets along with you. I paid together. We went in and we bought
We both
100 tickets.
collaborated, we bought 100 tickets, and we have worked this without a hiccup. I mean,
No,
and
no
this
problem.
has not been, we both have the same disease. So this is we're on, you should be on the same team. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? And I don't care who I offend. So I'm going to put this out there. When you plan a thing, and this has been said by other people with CRPS, you're planning a conference at Disneyland. Okay. When you go to Disneyland, it's exhausting. And when you have this disease, to trek in the heat with all this stuff and to walk Disney and to go, that is a long day. And a lot of people with CRPS have said to me, I feel like these things are based upon healthy, regular lives.
Well,
And I mean, for myself, I've said I wouldn't go to Disney. I mean, I know how exhausting it is when you're perfectly healthy. I'd never make it the day.
yeah, I'm a Disney fanatic. I'm a little different.
Well, I go for the fun, but you know what? You're going to
But
pay for it.
yeah, when I go, my doctor knows he's going to see me I make an appointment for an injection prior and after,
Because you're going to pay
because
pay
I know I'm
heavily
going to
for the
pay.
day.
And thank you, Jesus, that I live in an intractable pain state, and that my doctor is the way he is, because I have been one of the very few patients that have not been, well, I've been affected, but I have not had I have not been force tapered or any of that stuff.
All right,
Uh,
we're gonna move into it, Kelly.
so,
I'm gonna
but
move into the opioids.
that
Opioids.
is just
Uh,
that. The reason why I brought that up though is because people don't understand that it's about quality of life. And
Correct.
somebody wanting to go to Disneyland with their kids or their grandkids for a day
You need help for that.
to be allowed to do that. And it shouldn't come into question that the diabetic needs their insulin to go. So why can't the cancer patient or the intractable pain patient have their medicine to go?
Well,
So that's the
I'll tell
reason
you, you
why
know,
I bring that to the Disneyland topic, is because I'm right there with you. And the other thing is that I think that the one thing I do want to explain about some of the organizations that do some of the events,
go ahead.
the woman that runs the organization you're particularly talking about is in remission, that I'm aware of. The last time
Well,
I spoke
God
with
bless
her,
her
she
then.
was in
That's
remission.
great.
And I think she's gearing this more towards children. I don't know if she was necessarily dealing with it towards adults, but at the same time, I've had lots of people say the same exact thing to me that you're saying. So you're not the first, you're not going to be the last. And I agree with you on many different levels, where somebody that has CRPS in their hand may be able to go to Disneyland and do that.
But
Where somebody
with
that
legs, you're
has
not
it in
doing
their
it.
legs, you're not walking around Disneyland. And
You're not doing it.
if you don't have a house that's less than a mile from Disney like me, or you don't have a hotel on the property, and you can't go back and rest every 3 or 4 hours, even with medication,
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing Disney.
You're not doing
And
Disney.
that's the reality of it. That's part of the reason a lot of people used to tell me, um, in fact, I had an admin I had to, that had brought up that I do these recordings, and that somebody had said that they were jealous. And I said, "Do you know why I do these recordings?" And she was like, "No." And I said, "Well, it all started with a very good friend of mine named Sherry, who has RSD, and all her daughter wants to do in life is go to Disney and go to Harry Potter Land.
I
And
want to go to Harry Potter Land too.
I'll take you, I promise,
Take
when you
me to Kelly.
come,
Take me to Harry Potter
you have a place to stay, and you can bring little man, and we'll take you both."
That's it. That's it. We're going to Harry Potter Land.
But she can't take her kid. So the only thing she gets, I mean, people don't record it like I do. I'm obsessive. But her daughter got to see things she would never have seen. And I got RSD when my kids were 10 and 12. And I was a
So
baseball
you
mom.
know how it feels. You
I
know
was
how
a
it feels
baseball
to
mom.
not be the mom who can do it now.
I was on the field every day. Every day. I was in the snack bar. I sold t-shirts. I had a business. I had such a successful business off of my son's sporting events that when I got RSD, I had 23 just baseball communities from San Diego to Santa Barbara asking me to come to their opening days. I didn't have enough staff, money, or product to
But
get there,
look at,
but it's
I want
gone.
people to realize when you're watching, this is a very different podcast because you can see how emotional Kelly is about this, because this is how much it takes out of a person and how much it takes away from you. And she's tries so hard to give back, and she's dealing with where everybody's dealing with their own pain as we're doing this. And somebody said to me, why would you start a podcast now with all the chaos going on in your life? Because there's some of us that just have to continue to rattle the
They need
cages
it.
to help the rest of us. We have to push through, and we have to do this. And we started talking about opioids, and I'm gonna tell a story that just happened to me, because I just had surgery. I have a massive infection. And I see pain management only recently, as of the last couple months since this pain started. And the doctor, who's the surgeon, I said, I need some more painkillers because the pain is out of control and I have this huge hole. And he said, well, you should be used to pain. Why should I give you any more painkillers? You can wait till you see pain management.
That's insane.
In my mind, I had a few words, but I was like, whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to get myself worked up. I made the appointment with pain management. I tell my pain management doctor, this is what's said. And what he said is, this is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen in my life. And the way they would allow somebody who has a 3-inch plus a 6-centimeter hole in their leg to go home and deal with pain because they don't want to write a prescription.
'Cause
is
they're terrified.
disgusting.
Yeah.
They have given out so many prescriptions over the years that they are flagged. They are flagged by ASAP. They are flagged. Okay. So now they pull back. Okay. Now they want to taper. They want to take you off of this, or they want to put you on methadone and Suboxone. And this is the new way we're going to cure the opioid epidemic, a low dose naltrexone. This is all almost a gimmick, from the
It is a gimmick.
pharmaceutical company and pain management and your
It
doctors.
actually, the pharmaceutical company, Big Pharma, it's kind of funny because they're on both ends of the stick
Of
for
course they
this.
are.
And the point I want to make in all of this when it comes to this opioid epidemic is that uh, that it's not pain management's fault. They want to keep blaming it on the doctors. Okay,
And
well,
it's
I'm going to
not.
tell you right now that if you're in true pain management, it's not pain management's fault. And I can prove to you right here on this podcast every step of the way exactly why. But before I go there, I'm going to tell you this. The problem with doctor writing prescriptions is this. If you are on opioids for longer than a month, you should be seeing pain management. There is no reason for you to see a neurologist, primary care
Primary care.
physician. There's no
Correct.
all that bullshit needs to go away. If you are going to have a surgery and you have to have a long recovery, and you have to be on opioids and antibiotics and all of these things and do, therapy, and for an amputee, that's huge. And first of all, what people don't know about amputees is that a lot of people don't know that there's phantom limb pain. So it doesn't matter if you cut it off, you still feel it.
You
Even
still
though the limb is
have some
not
sense
there,
of yes.
your
Correct.
brain is still making you feel some sort of pain from that limb. And as crazy as this sounds, I actually had this tooth right here, and this one's fake now, but the one that was there was my baby tooth, and my adult tooth had impacted inside of it, and it had grown into the top of the roof of my mouth, and they had pulled it out, but I actually had phantom.
You could still feel it.
Yeah,
because there's a nerve.
the tooth. It was the craziest thing, and from that alone, I knew phantom limb pain had to be atrocious. First of all, I mean, if
Anything
my
that
tooth was bothering me, then
is a
what?
nightmare.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that, to have RSD and have that constant pain signal. And what people don't realize is that, yeah, I can put on a happy face, but last time you saw me on the podcast with you and Mindy, there was makeup and there wasn't this, I wasn't tearing like this. And today's day 3, because we're in the middle of some epic cold storm here in California. I mean, literally,
So you're hurting.
we got snow. We don't usually get snow in lower levels. We got snow in lower levels. And I mean, it's just, for the last 3 days, it's been atrocious. And it's the first real, besides the flare right after I had to put my cat down at the beginning of January, this is the first time I've gone through it without my animal. And I'm having those nights that Mindy is having on the movie.
For those of you who haven't seen the In Between, we still have some tickets, I think, to give free access to. So if you want to see that movie, we can do that as well. But
yeah,
there's a scene in there where she has CRPS, and she's going through this night of just absolute hell, where you're pacing and you're back and forth and you're sweating and you're outside, you're inside, you're crawling out of your body. And if you have CRPS, you look at that and you're like, Jesus Christ, I have that at least twice a week.
Yeah, and I'm half tempted to put a GoPro in my bathroom with it facing up, so that it can be seen in real life how many times I get up. In the last 3 days, I don't know how many hours I've spent in the shower between 1 a.m. and 10 a.m.
just to calm things down.
Yeah, and my husband will tell you that in the last 3 days, he's washed towels twice a day for the last 3 days.
You know what? And we talk about, that toolkit that we all have, that we go through on those nights where it's like, oh God, I'm never gonna make it through. And what do you have in that toolkit?
Heating pads, music, movies, pictures of family, important people in my life. And I had my animal until recently, and that's been the hardest part for me. But
And I think
and
for
showers.
people with CRPS, when you have a pet, it's more like a family member. And actually after my amputation, the dog I had for basically my entire life, my entire journey, had passed away right after my amputation. And it was just, because they become like your emotional support. On those nights when it's 3
They
a.m. and you're about
don't
to lose
leave
it,
you. They don't
so
leave you.
I ended up after my amputation getting another dog who is a service dog now. And they can sense things. Like I had just said, I had some bleeding from my wound in the middle of the night, and the dog just started
When
losing
you
it.
told me
And
that, dude, I'm like I am right now over that whole story
he
you
can
told me. I was
sense
just so happy that you had him.
infection. He will wake me up and make sure that I get out of bed. He can sense when the bandage is full. He's a very emotional, he's a dachshund, so they're a very loyal breed, number one, but he knows his owner,
That's
very
awesome.
well. And, so we rely heavily, I think, on the comfort of we don't even really call them pets, yeah, they're not pets to us, they're
Ralph is
family.
not my. It used to make my husband's my husband's family came over once, and then we had moved into this house, and Ralph hid somewhere. We had never found him hiding before, and I lost my mind to the point where the whole family left. I didn't even
They were
know
like,
they
she's out of
left.
control. What the hell's wrong with her? But
Where's my
that was your
cat?
support. That's your support when you have this. And that's the one thing, sometimes when we're sleeping in this thought, you're not going to wake up your significant other to
My
join in on
husband,
the
like I told you,
festivities.
he works for like the second or fourth largest law firm in the world.
So you're
And
not waking him up when he
I'm
has to go
not
to work.
going,
You're on your
please,
own.
please wake up and hold my hand. There are days
No.
that I do, but Ralph got me through that. I had Ralph prior to RSD, and I've had him for my whole RSD journey, and he was everything to me. I could talk to him in the middle of the night. Now my husband and we bought I don't know why I thought this was a good idea in my head, but I bought a 3-story condo.
Yeah, that because you wanted me to come in. That's why I think it's a good idea too. The 3 stories is going to be good.
Yeah, I thought my one-legged friends were going to be able to run up the
Yeah,
stairs.
I'm going to be. You know what? I'm going to use the bouncy leg for that one for the stairs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to use my Tigger leg.
Oh, don't worry. My
way
husband
up.
will carry you up like he does
That's it. It's going
everybody.
to be fine. It's going to be fine.
So I thought, okay, I've got to get this condo. It'll be good PT for me, blah, blah, blah. The best thing out of the condo is that when I wake up in the middle of the night, like I have the last 3 nights at 1 o'clock in the morning, I can wake up my husband and tell him, I need you to go downstairs. I don't need to keep you up, because before we were in
So
a
you have more room
regular
to.
house, and yes, he would go out into the living room, but the living room was separated by a foyer and a bathroom and then my master bedroom, so it wasn't like, like now he can come downstairs and go to sleep, and he's not going to be bothered by me turning on a movie, and he's not going to be bothered by me talking to Ralph or whatever. And I can get in and out of the shower 900 times, and I know that in the
And it
morning
doesn't
after,
bother.
yeah, I know after he gets done with his morning meetings in the morning, he's gonna come upstairs, go through my room, get all the dirty dishes and drinks and towels and everything, and run through the
So
caregiver
needless to
thing.
say, your husband, as far as a caregiver, is pretty phenomenal. Is that about right?
Unbelievable. This man is,
Tell
I
me,
wouldn't
tell me,
make,
what is this man?
this man is everything. Everything. You talk about the person that you need to wipe your ass. He's
I
my
did.
person.
I had said, I watched the Kevin Hart special and I'm going to repeat it just because it's me and Kelly on here. And, I'll put an explicit warning on when we do a podcast because it usually goes like that. I'm watching Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart was in a major, major car accident. And he couldn't wipe his ass. And he has home health aide comes in and he's got to go to the bathroom. And as he's going to the bathroom, he's realizing like, oh my God, I can't
This
do
guy's
this.
gonna come in here.
And he's now realizing that this other man that he doesn't know is now got to wipe his ass. And he is saying, you really need to make sure that you have somebody to do this. And as the guy's doing it, he's saying, I never thought I'd be wiping Kevin Hart's ass. And I'm hysterical because I come home from surgery and I'm looking at my partner and we're in the same situation now. And I just, it's such a humbling experience when you have somebody who's like, it doesn't even faze them. But you're
No.
thinking to yourself, oh my God, this isn't really happening.
Well,
This isn't
it's
life.
so undignifying, and you're an adult. You're an adult. You don't need
And when
somebody
your
to change your
partner is
diapers.
like, your significant other's like, reach around a little bit, you're like, oh my God, well, how did I get here? But it's also, like you said, it's also a blessing to have somebody who just loves you that much that it's not a big deal. Because
Yeah,
we hear people who say, I got sick and, I was in a relationship before this, I got sick
and I'm
and well,
divorced.
guess what? Then I wasn't of any value anymore. Now I wasn't the same person. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. Whereas, my fiance now will say, I'd rather have you with just a head on a platter than not have you at all.
Well, see, and that's why I said RSD Sisters really wants to get to the point where we can help people integrate, because that's the problem, is that even with my husband being as phenomenal as he is, we still fall apart. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you guys see good stuff, but there are days I'm
All
screaming
of
at
us.
him. Last night, perfect example. What do you mean you don't understand why I won't shut up about an animal? Who do you think has been here with me for the last 2 nights that you haven't? And his eyes got big and he went, holy shit, I never even thought about the fact that you might not.
Yeah, because I think we feel, like I said, I know for me, I don't know if you feel the same way, but when you're in that kind of pain, yes, you want company, but it like my partner will be like, I don't want to make you talk right now because I know you're in a lot of pain.
Yeah, exactly.
And
They
she
know.
can tell when it's coming. She just knows. So she'll be like, I don't want to make you talk, just, so, having your, whether it's a support animal or it's your, you don't have to talk. They're just there, and when you lose that, you lose a piece of yourself and you lose a piece of that big, big toolbox that you had.
Yeah,
And
because
people are like, how could an animal help you? It does. That's why people have support
you know
animals.
what? The animal can help me, because even though we've been friends for 14 years, you can't sit on that couch and look at me the way I'm screaming in pain. You can't see
It is
me
something
drag
that an animal
myself
can
to
sense.
the bathroom. You can't. And that's why we're not friends anymore, is because in all reality, and the reason why I'm being this raw with you today is because of your earlier podcast.
Well,
I could really try and rein this in, but I'm gonna be as raw as I can be,
I think
because
you're talking about the solo podcast I did about the emails I
yes,
got.
yes,
There are a lot of people right now that, they want to give up and because, they see me keep going. And yes, I get hit a lot. I get a lot of rough cards, I get a lot of rough cards, but I have to believe, and I always say this, people are like, you got to be like, God, what the hell? And I don't do that. I don't think God did this to me at all. I think if anything, that's how I get through this, and
yeah,
we were very quick when something goes wrong. We're like, oh, Jesus, I can't believe you. But when something is right, I don't know how many people look up and are like, thank God, thank you. So, we're always, when we're in
win,
hell, that we
yeah,
look and we blame God. This is not, no, God wouldn't put us in this situation. This is an unfortunate situation. But I did get emails about why I continue, why I push on. And you know what? Because that's what you do. That's
and
what you
would
do.
exactly.
And if you can't, you reach out to Kelly with RSD Sisters. You reach out to me.
To
You
Lauren,
reach out to you. I answer. She answers. That's what we are here for, is to make sure that we don't lose anyone else. This is not, that's why the fighting between nonprofits, the idea is to keep us all alive right now.
It broke my heart. I got a I got a picture of my car in a Target parking lot from a girl whose mom committed suicide.
Let me guess, CRPS?
Yeah.
And
I know the
you
girl. I
will
knew
never
the
know.
mom. I knew the mom too. And for her to reach out to me about my car after that, and to know that I knew somebody and lost them to this disease because of this fake opioid bullshit.
Because they're not getting care. We are losing people because they are not getting the proper care. They are being tossed from one doctor to the next because nobody wants to be accountable or liable. And
Last
so we're losing
year,
young people.
no, not last year, the year before last, I had a friend, I'm not going to say her name, but I had a friend that was actually committed in Washington State into a psych ward because she was in an ER begging for help with her RSD. And is that what's going to happen to us and the vets now? I mean, every day vets are committing suicide in the parking lot of the VA because they can't take their PTSD medication and their narcotics together anymore.
I mean, where do we live where veterans who have fought for this country cannot get prosthetics, cannot get proper care, cannot get housing? Where the hell do we
What
live?
America do we live in?
This is not, when you have to beg a doctor to help you with pain, and I don't understand it, because if you think somebody has a drug problem, you urine test them.
Well,
And
no,
if they
no,
did not a urine
thank you.
test, well, then there you have it.
Well,
I'm all for that. I mean, but you know what? There comes, okay, hold on with the paper. There's the opioid letter we sign. If you smoke marijuana in New York, there are many pain managements that will sign you off. You cannot take an opioid and marijuana together. They will not have you in their practice. This is the logic that we're currently dealing with. Why? Well, for a lot of us, marijuana is much better than opioids. And that will take over big pharma, and nobody wants to see that happen. If we
well,
lose
that's why Big
oxygen.
Pharma is trying to get into the marijuana business now.
Explain the, of course, explain the paper in your hand. Go ahead.
So, this is
I know it. I know it well.
this is in writing. I'm going to put it up here close. This is in writing.
Opioid medication for chronic pain agreement. That's
So
what that says.
this is in writing that we sign. Oh, and
Mhm.
back to in writing what we sign. By the way, just so you know, the reason why they can get away with performing the minimal amount of insurance or none at all is because now they have in every document that you sign to go and see a doctor, if you don't sign their arbitration clause, they won't see you. So
Correct.
you will never, it's very rare that you will get a medical settlement outside of an arbitration. You most likely
I
will,
think most of them are arbitrated. I think
yeah,
everything probably in New
all
York is
medical,
arbitrated.
all medical, as far as I know, and as long as in the last 11 years, when I've had the most medical care in my 11 years or my entire life, I know that every single doctor I've seen in the last 11 years, if I didn't sign the arbitration clause, they're not seeing me. So you're not
Well,
going to get a
it's a
doctor to see
shame.
you because they don't want a malpractice lawsuit. So they put a clause in their paperwork so you can't do that to them.
One of the things that has always helped me the most, and it got cut, it actually got cut, was chiropractic. And I called my insurance company and I said, I just want to put this into your mind now. If I don't get treated with chiropractic, my entire body will flare. It will just flare, which means I now have to go to the hospital, which means that's going to be $15,000 by the time this is done, as compared to a $25 copay visit. You would rather pay $15,000 than let me have chiropractic. And after going through my whole, basically a court appearance with them, they gave me back my chiropractic. So
Wow.
people need to not be afraid to really argue with your insurance, argue with them. You need to be your own
Yeah.
advocate. You can't just take what a doctor says as, if a friend in the street said, I got this pill, it's going to help you. Here, take it. Would you take it? No. Your
But that's
doctor.
yeah, but the whole point, but wait a minute. Your doctor, who is medically trained for years and years and years, is
Uh-huh.
now being told by Jeff Sessions and
He's a little goblin.
and whoever else in the hell wants to jump on the bandwagon and tell us that our doctors who have gone to school to learn how to treat us
are not qualified
to tell us what we need. And you, who have never met me, doesn't know my medical case from Adam, and doesn't know what's going on with me, who lives in a little tiny box in the White House and is so sheltered from real life, is going to tell millions of people what they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
And
I sat on those calls for that conference for pain management.
Explain to me this. Why aren't all the guns and bullets taken out of the world if we have to take all the pain management away? If pain management is killing people, so do guns. So we're back to gun control and opioids. But the reason why this is so vital and people need to understand this is because this proves that it is not the real pain management that is causing the problem. And the reason why this proves this is because this has to be a signed document. And what people don't understand is what I go through every month to be able to sit up and talk to you right now, to be able to get the little bit of pain management I am blessed enough to get. I have to pee in a cup randomly. Anytime I walk into my doctor's office, they can tell me, piss in this cup. Not only do I have to piss in the cup randomly, but at any time they can tell me, bring in my pills. They can call me in the middle of the month and ask me to bring in my pills for a pill count. This also says that you can submit blood tests. It also says that you're in the state prescribing database, honey. So there should not be overlapping prescriptions, and there should never be any fake prescriptions because I'm never given a prescription. It is sent directly from my doctor's office.
Mean, I will tell you,
directly to the pharmacy. I cannot tamper with any of the stuff.
It's actually sent now literally through, here it's through a key fob, where they punch their code. We don't see the pills until we pick them up. There, and you
don't even see the written prescription. There is no more written prescription.
Nothing. There's nothing. Nothing is handed to us.
Computer.
But one of the big things that's being pushed is Suboxone, is methadone, is they want you off of.
Okay, let me tell you about Suboxone.
Oh, baby.
Oh shit! Don't get me started on that shit. This is what I'm going to tell you. I want you to contact every single 80s hair band in America.
Kelly, I don't know if I could do that, but go ahead.
And tell me, Steven Tyler, unfortunately, Van Halen's not with us anymore. Axl Rose, all of those people will tell you that when they weren't doing cocaine, they were doing buprenorphine. And guess what that is? That's the main ingredient in Suboxone. And let me tell you another thing. Buprenorphine is harder to kick than heroin or any of the other drugs. And that's where the reason why I get so fired up about this whole situation is because of how controlled my life is. First of all, I hate living on a med clock. I hate that if I miss a round of medication that I could end up in the hospital. I hate that if I miss a round of medication, I could end up going through withdrawals. I hate all of this. I hate it all. I would do anything. I'd give it back in a heartbeat.
Well, that's the difference. And I think what you just said is what these doctors need to realize. Like when I go in, to pain management, the first thing I say is, do you need a urine sample? if you're going in and you're combative and you don't want to do this, that's the person you look at. That's where the
Well, the
problem is.
problem,
I'm
well, not only
easily,
that, but
for me, I'm like, go ahead.
workers' comp, workers' comp is causing a problem
That's a
too,
difference. That's a
because
whole different story.
this, the, not only does it lie within that situation where a person is not compliant in pain management, and if you sign this actual contract and you're not compliant, they drop you from their practice and you don't
Yes.
get pain
Yes.
management anymore. So it doesn't really matter. But what my point is that, shit, I lost my train of thought there for a second. What were we
The
talking about?
train's off the track.
Um, the reason why I get so upset about it is because what has happened is that primary care physicians are prescribed more opioids than a month's worth of opioids. Dentists, without working with pain management, are these doctors are prescribing more than a month's worth of medications. Then on top of it, because workers' comp has to squeeze their pennies and doesn't want to pay, they've caused their own they've caused an overprescribing
Epidemic.
problem, because that what they have done is they go and they take the patient and they go to pain management and they get the diagnosis from pain management, and then because pain management is $180 a visit and a $45 copay, the workers comp would rather pay the $89 PCP visit, so they get the diagnosis from the pain management and then they force the patient to illegally get their script. And it is illegal because those doctors are primary care physicians. They're not trained in pain management. So they're illegally going to primary care physicians and getting scripts. And therefore, all these primary care doctors, yes, primary care doctors are overprescribing because of workers' comp and because people can't afford to continue with pain management. So they
Well,
have to
we
divert
know that
that.
this is going to be, it's going to be an ongoing problem in this community until something unfortunately changes. And
But that's what they want to say is the problem. That's the reason why that we've got people dying in the streets. Yes, it's unfortunate that there are people that have gotten medication and gone out and got addicted on heroin. But let me explain something to you. If they were introduced to heroin 3 years before they got pain management, they'd be addicted to heroin because it's in their body. They're an addiction person and they don't need the medication. And if you look at pain management versus drug addicts, if you are a drug addict, your life is falling apart because you're doing everything to get your fix. If you're in pain management, it's about quality of life and being able to sit up and hold your
well,
grandbaby in your arms, because
unfortunately, the way that this is being run, it's creating addiction problems. It's creating addiction problems. And you know what? I don't want anybody to listen to this and think that I don't, I have family who has passed from addiction. I have friends who have, survived addiction. So I am a huge advocate for, I understand how you get into this situation. And people say, oh, well, you don't take opioids like I do. I don't judge anybody who, however you have to get through this day and survive. That's what matters, is whatever medication is going to help you to function properly and to see the next day. That's what we really need to be able to get. We need to get doctors who are going to do proper pain management, proper care, where this is just not, we don't have to panic about what's going to happen when this prescription runs out. And it almost gives people PTSD because you know what? They're afraid. What if
there's a
my
whole
pain
nother
is too
level.
bad? What if my pain's too bad one night? I take one extra. Now I don't have a pill for the next day.
What do you
So
mean almost gives people PTSD? What are you talking
it
about
does,
almost? Ask my sister in Nebraska. She'll tell you 2 years ago, I was hysterical. I called her
because
crying
you don't know what you're
because
going to
I
do.
went, oh my God, if my doctor takes my medication from me, I remember when I first got RSD, I came home from Florida and I went to the doctor and I saw a neurologist, and the neurologist covered my eyes and did these tests on me, and she immediately admitted me into the hospital. I didn't go home. I went from her office to the ER, and they admitted me to the ER, and I was there for 5 days, and I've had every MRI, CAT scan, blah, 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 whatever, blah, 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 blah. And another neurologist cleared me. So now I've got 2 neurologists that cleared me. She can see that my leg is bigger than my head, and she can tell that I can't feel anything because she runs the little spur thing up and down my leg, and
Yep,
my
yep,
eyes are
yep.
covered and I don't even react to it. But this was in the first stages when it was so swollen I couldn't feel. And all I felt was the excruciating bone pain. And you couldn't feel the skin stuff yet. The skin stuff hadn't kicked in at that
Yeah,
point
that
yet.
takes, yeah, it changes as time goes.
So it took us 2 months and 3 weeks to get a diagnosis, and I was lucky. I was lucky. I was a
Yeah.
lucky girl
Ooh,
because she had put me in the hospital, done all the testing, and I went home and I ran out of the bottle of medication she gave me. And it actually lasted longer than prescribed. It actually lasted 5 days longer than it was prescribed. And I called back and I said, I need to see the doctor, blah, 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 blah. And immediately I was told I was drug seeking. This was my first prescription
time
of
ever.
narcotics ever.
Yep, ever.
And she tells me, go to the emergency room. So the next 2.5 months, every other day, no joke, every other day, my husband was taking me to the emergency room.
Oh, I've
I
been there
can
for the
show you. I can
tramadol,
show
a
you the
shot of
hospital bills.
fentanyl, a shot of morphine.
Those were the wonderful extra bills that came out of my settlement for no reason at all. And you know why I can't go back and tell her thanks for the malpractice and thanks for being a bitch? Is because my attorney went to her and told her, I need you to realize that this lady has RSD, and I need you to write up a proper neurology explanation
Diagnosis
and
and
diagnosis of this for my settlement. And because she did that, I can't go and take medical malpractice against her for basically telling me to go fuck myself and costing me thousands of dollars to go to the ER for 2.5 months.
thousands of dollars is the story of our life, Kelly.
Yeah.
Well, on a brighter note, all right. So
Yes.
let's now. So we've got this diagnosis, and like I said, I told you about the emails I got earlier. What do you run RSD Sisters? What do you tell somebody who says, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. What do you say to somebody?
The first thing is as much as you hurt, do you want to give that hurt to somebody else? Because you're going to leave someone in your life that is going to be devastated. I have RSD sisters that have lost their children to suicide. I have a pain lady with MS right now that just lost her 2 sons in a car
I saw
accident 3
that.
nights ago.
That's unbelievable.
And I mean, I deal with raw, and I guess that's part of the reason why I am so much today is because the 3 days, because of the podcast you did this morning about your letters and everything, is people need to know that this is real. And the smiling all the time and the yeah, everything's great and blah blah blah, that's not how it is, man. I'm sorry, but 80% of the time people with RSD are sitting here with this look on their face. And there are a lot of us that can joke and put on a comedy show, a comedy TV show.
I
and
mean,
laugh.
you and I do that all the time, and that's, we know we're in pain, but we can, go back and forth with it.
And I can make some sick jokes about it. Believe me.
She can. She can. But I think that having that group, that RSD Sisters, or having, like I know this CRPS Amputee Warriors, my page, they have a group now, and they contact each other.
Yes.
And it's important to talk it out.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll see in in my page a lot. Any other pain insomnia people up, you'll see it anywhere, 11 o'clock at night, all the way to 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
And you're not alone. You are not
Nope.
alone. There's always somebody who, it may not be the exact situation, but let me tell you, people are up all night. This is, if you have CRPS, you'll see the post pain insomnia. Is there anybody up right now? And they'll come together, and you get these friendships that last forever. I mean, I have
And they're
friends from,
unbelievable.
they are, and you can lean on them. And I think getting through this, like I said earlier, really depends on the tribe that you build for yourself, and who you take into, who brings you that happiness to get you through this.
Yeah, I do my best. I've been, like I said, you said, I run RSD Sisters like a nonprofit. I send out magnets. I'll grab mine. Do you mind if I
Go
grab
ahead.
mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a huge deal, but it's just my name, RSD Sisters, and it says RSD Sisters and Warriors surviving since 2010. And it's $3, but I don't know how many I've sent out in 11 years. I've sent a crap ton of them out. I make mugs, blankets. Usually I save the blankets, the RSD. I have a RSD Sisters affirmation blanket that says RSD Sisters with hearts, and then it says Cope and
That's very
Warrior
beautiful.
and all of those kinds of things. And I send those to amputees and to cancer patients that have RSD or CRPS. I'm now making blankets at home with embroidery and scarves and things just for people to wear for awareness. A lot of people have asked me about my car. To the point where I'm trying to find a company that makes window clings so that people can, they
Put
can.
it on a good idea, Kelly.
So, awareness is awareness. And I know that I'm driving awareness because every single time I drive my car, I can correlate the days of the week that I drive my car with the website traffic, because Squarespace shows me all the traffic, and I can correlate the traffic on my website with the days that I drove my car. I know exactly when I drove my car because my website gets hit like crazy. So, and on my website, it's not like I didn't create my own content for it. I just took facts from the Mayo Clinic and all the dependable medical sites out there. I took facts from CRPS or RSD and CRPS. They're facts that are out there, and I put them on my Facebook page or on that website because it will drive people to the places that can help them. I'm not Stanford. I can't give you an injection at my house, but you see my
I can
car
tell you where to get it.
and you go and you read my website and you recognize. Do you know how many people I've been in the ER and I know that the person next to me has RSD?
Oh yeah, well,
I know.
it becomes, you can tell.
Yeah. And and
You can
um
tell.
and how many people I have had to find doctors for. And in fact, remember I was telling you, the reason why I haven't become a nonprofit is because I was going to about 11, 10 or 9 or 10 years ago. And a couple of people got catty with me and basically tried to accuse me of making money off of RSD. So for the last 11 years, I've spent a pretty penny out of my own pocket, and I don't ask anybody for money. I don't ask for funds. I don't ask for donations. I pay for the website. I paid for my car. I pay for all the awareness things, all the
She
items.
puts herself, her money, her heart into this disease, and that much I can say. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up, but I want to, make sure that people realize, go to RSD Sisters on Facebook. Kelly is very easy to get in touch with, number one, and, getting in touch with her. She's got a lot of experience with this disease and also a lot of resources. I put myself out there. I am always reachable. And if I don't have the answer, I will find somebody who has the answer, you know, and I think both of us together, and one of my favorite things that's happened in 2020, that, I mean, which wasn't much, is to see RSD Sisters and CRPS amputee warriors together in a
Yeah,
collaboration. And it would bring me nothing but joy to see CRPS Forum and RSDSA all collaborating and to see us all be
absolutely.
able to come together. That would be my goal with this. People say, what do you want to see? I want to see us all working for the
And I
good
don't
of the
don't
people
don't
out
get me
there.
wrong, please. I even though I don't see the nonprofits working together, please don't get me wrong. I donate to all of them. I donate to RSDSA.
If I don't
I
have the
donate
answer,
to
I send them
CRPS
to
Forum.
another one.
I donate to you. I donate to International Pain Foundation. I've donated to all of them
We
because
support each and every one of these
each
organizations for what they do, but we all need to somehow come together
come
and
together to
figure
make a
this out.
bigger difference.
Make a bigger difference, make a bigger outlet of resources, more doctors, more help. It'll be beneficial to the people out there that we're losing.
Yeah,
And there's too much loss right now. You know,
exactly.
so with that, I want to leave you. You bring us, close this up for me.
Well, first of all, thank you. And yeah, I'm a little rough around the edges because I
She's
tell it
she's
like it
she's good.
is,
She's a good egg, though.
but I am not opposed to being wrong. And when I'm wrong, I'll be the first to say it, and I'll be the first to take responsibility and try to change what I can. And I just want to work together with you and anybody else that wants to make people truly aware of the disease and what we go through and the crises we go through versus fighting over, oh my God, they're not in my Facebook group. I don't care where you're getting the information or where you're
Yes,
getting
neither
your
do
help
I.
from. I just want you to get the help. Genuinely want you to get the help. And
That is
so,
the goal for I think both for Kelly and myself. And with that, before I end this, we have a collaboration with Mindy Bledsoe on the movie The In Between, and we both have purchased 50 tickets each. We have tickets left over, correct?
yes, yes,
And we have the codes. So for anybody who wants to see the movie currently, free, we have the access codes. You can reach out to Kelly. You can reach out to me. You can go through RSD Sisters. You can go through CRPS Amputee Warriors. I'm going to put it all under the link when I post this. I want to thank Kelly for coming on and talking to us.
thank
And
you. Thank you
I
for
look
your time.
forward to getting into the nitty gritty again on some more of this stuff.
Absolutely. Let's see some caregiver talk.
Let's do some caregivers next. All right. Have
All
a
right.
good night, Kelly. And
You too.
I will talk to you soon.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you.